How does the state react? The state generally reacts the same way, by regretting that the original non-Muslims ever did anything in the first place, and calling for us to all be more considerate about where we draw the line.
Across the Arab world, there's been outrage at the publication of cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad. The Prime Minister of Denmark has appeared on Arab television in a desperate attempt to calm the situation.
It's all very moderate, moderate, moderate. But what it means is that you're drawing the line tighter and tighter and tighter round your own freedom of expression.
When you call out for the silencing of cartoonists or for censoring the press, then you are touching on fundamental freedoms that we all believe in.
Muslims don't want to see representations of Muhammad. That's fine, fine, good for them. But I'm not a Muslim. And if I want to draw Muhammad, I don't see why I shouldn't be allowed to.
Insulting the Prophet is obviously an offense. But in the past, Islamic law was only concerned with such offenses in Muslim countries. Whatever happens in the lands of the infidels outside the jurisdiction of a Muslim state is not the concern of Muslim law. The only explanation I can think of is that they now consider Europe part of the House of Islam.
All these incremental things are actually the real battleground and where we'll lose this thing.
There is another factor in the Islamists' favour, which is sheer demographic weight of numbers. There are now many millions of Muslims in Britain and Europe.
Do you know which name is more popular right now in Great Britain? George or Mohammed? George? Wrong. No, it's Mohammed.
Essentially, we live in a world where the most advanced societies are going out of business. In Spain, they have an upside-down family tree. You have 4 grandparents who have 2 children who have 1 grandchild. You do that for another 20, 30, 40 years, they're not going to be any more Spaniards.
Most of the countries in Western Europe are in the process of becoming Muslim-majority countries. The proportion of Muslims in the population is increasing steadily.
People say, oh, well, it doesn't really matter. Only 10% of the population of France is Muslim. What's the big deal? It's going to be centuries before any of this ever happens. Not true at all. If you have a population where 90% of the population have, say, 1.4 children, and 10% of the population have 3.8 children, then that 10% will have caught up with the 90%. It happens very, very fast, and it's happening very fast.
There are now many millions of Muslims in Britain and Europe. And the point about these communities is that unlike other immigrant communities, they don't wish to integrate and they don't integrate. They kind of reinforce themselves as insular communities.
We believe Islam is supreme. We believe Islam will dominate.
ألبانيا دخلت في الاتحاد الأوروبي وهي دولة مسلمة. بوسنا دخلت في الاتحاد الأوروبي وهي دولة مسلمة 50% منها مسلمين. الله بيسخر أمة مسلمة وهي الأمة التركية بتدخل في الاتحاد الأوروبي. 50 مليون مسلم في أوروبا بعد عشرات السنين سيحولوا أوروبا إلى قارة مسلمة.
They do see the fertility rate as a key element of conquest, as they put it.
فتح روما في إيطاليا يعني وأوروبا معنى هذا إنه الإسلام سيعود إلى أوروبا مرة أخرى. هل من ضرورة الفتح أن يكون بالحرب؟ لا، ليس من الضرورة. هناك فتح سلمي.
This is a form of subtle threat that you cannot ignore it. It grows gradually, and the moment you recognize its existence, it's like cancer. The moment you recognize its symptoms, it's usually too late.
Europe, I think, is already a lost cause. And as time goes on, America will be endangered.
You know, many have said that, well, American Muslims are much more assimilated and we don't have as much of a problem. I think that we're just a little behind where Europe has already gotten to.
صنعوا توابيتكم واحفروا قبوركم فالموت قادم لكم بإذن الله.
one shouldn't discount the possibility of absolutely horrible, destructive terrorism.
This has always been the nightmare scenario. Most people thought the risk of a massive explosion caused by a nuclear device went away with the Cold War. But according to the head of MI5 today, it remains a possibility. The risk is that a group like Al-Qaeda could get hold of chemical, biological, radiological or nuclear devices, or as they're known in the intelligence community, CBRN.
Our nightmare scenario is a nuclear detonation, and the second down, the second rung from that, you might say, is a dirty bomb.
A dirty bomb is essentially a core of radioactive material wrapped around with conventional explosives or perhaps even laced with a chemical or a biological weapons agent. A bomb like that going off in the heart of downtown New York City, downtown Washington, D.C., certainly would be a devastating occurrence.
With a dirty bomb, once the bomb goes off, you're just starting out, because when you deal with the casualties and the damage, then you have to ask, what is the unseen damage? What's the level of radiation? Is this something that people are going to die from? Over what kind of area? How far do you have to evacuate? What are your wind directions? When will you be able to repopulate that area? And even if you adjudge that it's safe to come back to, who will be confident or comfortable being the first ones to come back there?
Getting access in this global marketplace to weapons of mass destruction becomes easier every day, and understand that this is a group of individuals, if they had access to them, wouldn't hesitate for